What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Oak Tree Football Channel, and welcome to another 2020 college football schedule breakdown and record prediction video. Today, I'll be doing the Kentucky Wildcats. This is the 8th SEC team I've done, I believe, and I'm just going to keep doing these SEC teams, keep doing all kinds of college football teams, so you guys can hear my predictions for them. Like I said, today I'll be doing the Kentucky Wildcats. The Wildcats last year, their quarterback was Terry Wilson, but he got injured at the start of the year, didn't really get to play, and Kentucky really didn't have that many passing opportunities. It was a lot of running for them. I believe their leading passer had like 600 yards. They had a few guys play, and then they had two guys that had either 1,000 or nearly 1,000 yards rushing. Not really any great receivers, but that was just because of the lack of passing. But now Terry Wilson will be back, so they will be able to pass the ball more. But the problem is they're now losing Lynn Bowden, who is a member of the Las Vegas Raiders. He left for the NFL, obviously. He was their best playmaker last year. I believe he led the team in rushing. He played quarterback sometimes. He could play wide receiver. He could play everywhere. He is gone, so that is going to hurt. I think he could have had a really good year if he played wide receiver for the full season with Terry Wilson, but he is gone now. So Terry Wilson, I'm very interested to see how he plays this year. He might be good. He might just be average. But let's get into looking at this. So they went 8-5 last year, pretty good. And their recruiting class was the 25th in the country. Kentucky is normally up there as a good team. They're not normally fantastic, but they are normally up there as a pretty good team. So now onto their schedule, and they started off with a pretty easy game. It's against Eastern Michigan. I really don't see them having much of a problem with this game. I mean, Eastern Michigan isn't that great, and Kentucky is at home for this game. I really don't see them having a problem here at all. And then week 2, they have Florida. So Florida had that long winning streak on Kentucky, and then in 2018, Kentucky finally broke that streak and was able to win that game, and then it looked like the same would happen last year. It looked like Kentucky was going to win, but then Kyle Trask came in for Florida, and he saved the day. This year, it's going to be interesting again. It's always a fun game to watch. I am leaning towards Florida this year just because Florida is the home team, and it's hard to win when it's a home game. It's hard to beat Florida on the road. Florida is a very good football team, definitely one of the better in the SEC, and could be a dark horse candidate for a playoff spot this year. I could definitely see Kentucky putting up a good fight. I could see this being a good game. I'm actually very excited for it. I just think that Florida is the better team, and because Florida is at home, I just think that it's a safer bet to go with them. I'm not counting out a Kentucky win. I just feel like it most likely will be Florida. Week 2, they have week 3. This one shouldn't be a problem at all. Kent State just isn't that good of a football team. Kentucky's at home, and they should have no problem with this one. Week 4 is a very interesting game. It's against South Carolina. Now, South Carolina is a very underrated team. Like, they're not terrible, but they're just not on the level as teams like Kentucky, Tennessee, and of course, Georgia, Florida, all those, Bama, LSU. Not on the level as those teams are, but they are pretty good, and they are very underrated. I think maybe they can make a bowl game this year. They just do have a pretty tough schedule, but they have upset teams in the past. I could see South Carolina winning this one if I'm honest. I am leaning towards Kentucky right now, but, South Carolina has a good team. South Carolina is at home for this game. Kentucky is at home for this game. I could see South Carolina winning. It's just going to be tough for them to win, in my opinion. I could see it happening, but I just really don't think it will be the case. Week 5, they have Auburn on the road. If this game was at home, I think they could win. Auburn is a very good football team, in my opinion. They might even go to the SEC championship game this year. That's a possibility. I don't think they will, but it is a possibility. If Kentucky was at home, I think there would be a serious chance they could win this game. I still think there is a chance they can win. It's just going to be tough to win on the road, especially against a team that is better than them, in my opinion. Auburn is a good team. I think we're going to see a big step up from Bo Nix. Maybe he can even be a Heisman contender. They just have a lot of talent on that team, and I expect them to be pretty good this year, especially their offense. They have some good pieces on their offense, have some good pieces on their defense as well. I expect them to be good, and I just can't see Kentucky winning this one. well, I can see Kentucky winning. I feel like it's a lot more likely Auburn will win. Week 6, they play Eastern Illinois. Should have no problem in this one either. This one really, like I said, should not be a challenge. This should be an easy win. Week 7, they have another pretty easy game. They're at home against Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt is an SEC opponent, obviously, except Vanderbilt is the worst team in the SEC. Maybe you can make an argument that Arkansas or someone is worse, but in my opinion, Vanderbilt is the worst team in the SEC, and Kentucky is at home, so I really don't see them having too much of a problem there. Week 8, they have to go on the road, but it's against Missouri. Missouri is a very interesting team to me. From what I remember, their schedule isn't too tough, so I think they can maybe win 6 games and go bowl eligible, but they're just not that great. It's just kind of a simple schedule for them, in my opinion. So even though Missouri is at home, I do think Kentucky will win. Just Kentucky is the better team, in my opinion. Maybe Missouri can get an upset because they're at home, but I feel Kentucky winning is a lot more likely in this game. Week 9, they have a bye. This is an okay bye. It's a bit late, in my opinion, because you only have 4 games left after this. And it is coming off a pretty easy game, so it's not the best place bye, but it's not terrible either. Week 10, they have a pretty tough game. It's at Tennessee. Now, I did my Tennessee prediction a few days ago, and what I talked about is I'm very excited to see the quarterback battle in this one. Terry Wilson for Kentucky versus Jarrett Guarantano for Tennessee. 2 quarterbacks I'm very, very interested to see. Maybe the most I'm interested to see of these of the quarterbacks in the SEC. These are two of them that I'm most interested to see. Because Terry Wilson coming off the injury, and then Jarrett Guarantano. I just want to see how he plays because he hasn't been great in the past, and I just want to know if he can improve this year. I think he will be able to. It's going to be fun to see. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Similar, I think these teams are similar on paper. These teams are similar. Maybe Tennessee's a bit better, but both very good teams. But Tennessee is the home team, which is why I am leaning towards them in this one. I'm not counting out Kentucky by any means. They could 100% get a win. I just feel like Tennessee is the favorite for this game, and I feel like they will win because they are the home team. Week 11, Kentucky goes back to a home game to play against Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State's a very interesting team. They brought in KJ Costello, and they have Mike Leach as their head coach, which is should make a very interesting duo. You know, that passing attack offense, that air raid offense. KJ Costello, I think, is very good for that scheme. It's just going to be interesting to see how they play. Maybe they can win 6 games. I would say 5, 6 wins, so around bowl eligibility. They shouldn't be great, and I really don't see them contending with Kentucky, especially that Kentucky's at home, and I think it will be Kentucky for this game. Week 12, they play Georgia. Georgia, in my opinion, is one of the best teams in college football. I think they'll be the best team in the SEC this year. Maybe Bama will be better, but in my opinion, it will be Georgia. This game, though, maybe Kentucky can get an upset, because Kentucky is the home team for this game. Maybe they can get an upset. It is later in the year, so Kentucky will probably have some more things figured out. Like Terry Wilson should have got back into the field of the game, so maybe an upset. One interesting thing about Georgia is they brought in 2 big transfer quarterbacks. They brought in Jamie Newman and JT Daniels. It's going to be interesting to see who they play. It'll most likely be Jamie Newman, but maybe JT Daniels gets some playing time later in the year, maybe. It's going to be very interesting to watch. I am favoring Georgia in this one just because I think they're too good. Their offense is pretty good, and their defense is one of the best in the country. But Kentucky is the home team. I'm not counting out the possibility of them winning. I just think it's a lot more likely that Georgia will win. And in Week 13, they end the season with a very, very interesting game. It's against Louisville. Louisville is a team I expect improvement from this year. Louisville was pretty good last year, and they have a lot of returning talent. I expect them to keep on getting better. And this game could go either way, in my opinion. I think these teams are similarly on talent. They're similar. Maybe Louisville's a bit better. You know, they have Javian Hawkins as the running back. He was fantastic last year. And then their quarterback is Malik Cunningham. He's someone I think can be very, very good this season. So I am leaning toward Louisville in this one. If Kentucky was at home, I think they could win. But just because Louisville is the home team, I believe they will win because they do have a good roster at the end of the day. So now, as I always do, I'll go through each game once again, and I'll give my prediction for who I think will win. Week 1, Eastern Michigan, I think that's a Kentucky win. Week 2, at Florida, I think that's a loss. If they're at home, maybe they can win, but because it's on the road, I think they'll lose. I think they will be Kent State. I think they will be South Carolina. Maybe South Carolina can be okay, but I think they will win. And then I think they'll lose against Auburn. If like the Florida game, if they're at home, maybe they can win. But just being on the road, I think that'll be too much for them. I think they'll lose. I think they'll win against Eastern Illinois, Vanderbilt, and Missouri. Then they have their bye. This Tennessee game is very, very interesting. Could go either way, but I am going to go with Tennessee for this one to give Kentucky their third loss of the year, just because they're on the road for that game. I think they'll beat Mississippi State. I think they'll lose to Georgia. Like I said, I just think Georgia's too good. And then because they're on the road, I think they will lose to Louisville to give them a record of 7-5. This could definitely be better. Maybe at best 9 wins. Maybe they can win that Auburn game. Maybe they can win against Tennessee. Or if they were to win 9 games this season, it would probably be one of their losses that I would take away would probably be against Louisville, and then the other would probably be against Tennessee. And then worst case, probably 6 wins, maybe 5, but I would say 6 wins. Maybe they lose to Missouri on the road, or maybe they get upset by South Carolina. But I do expect Kentucky to be a good team this season. I think they can definitely be better than this. I think that they have some tough away games. I'm really interested to see, like I said, how does Terry Wilson play. If he can be good, maybe Kentucky can be even better than this. I don't think they'll be a serious contender this year, but I think there is a good future for them going forward. Maybe in a few years they can be in the SEC championship game. But these are my thoughts on Kentucky for the season. What are your guys' thoughts? Tell me in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. And if you're new around here, feel free to subscribe for more daily NFL and college football content. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video.